Hi, everyone. My name's John Ottavio. I'm the Strategic Partnerships Manager here at Amica. Today, I'm joined by Jamie Smith, the co-founder and CEO of Amplify Advisors. Amplify Advisors is a full-service accounting practice and also a growth consulting firm based out of Calgary, Canada. Jamie's team at Amplify offers a holistic accounting and finance service, ranging from outsourced CFO, CPA recruitment, and consulting for technology and business strategy. They cater for small, medium businesses who typically utilize Xero and QuickBooks, as well as more enterprise-sized clients who leverage ERP systems such as NetSuite. So Jamie, thanks for joining us today.
I appreciate the opportunity. Thank you.
Right. So look, we'll move into, I guess, the five fireside questions. The first one that we're really keen to understand is the type of processes that Amplify Advisors goes through in choosing your tech stack.
Yes, great question. So funny enough, my co-founder and I have been working in system selections for a long time, even at Deloitte, where we both came from as an alumni. And so original days of Amplify, we actually sold system selections as one of the projects that we would do for clients. And so to the degree that we can use our own process internally, that's when we have the best success. And so that system selection process is really about, taking a look at your current state and what you're doing and what's working, what's not, how that's all set up. And then really defining what that future desired state looks like from a technology and process perspective, right? So it's essentially your wish list and what would be an ideal optimal setup. And then when you see the gaps, you need to take that laundry list of gaps between what you currently have and what you wish and your future desired state, and you need to prioritize those. And that's where it gets incredibly important, because different systems do different things better than others. And so if all you do is take your wish list or take your gap list and you go to market looking for a system, you will end up having an expectation misalignment, because things that you make assumptions about or things that you didn't realize were as important as they were may not fit into the systems and the tech that you pick. So it's incredibly important to get that gap list complete, but then the next step of prioritizing is really crucial. And obviously for every firm, we'd be silly not to admit it, cost is going to be on that list, right? And so cost is always going to be a factor. And in certain cases, when the priorities are high because of the hours that are manually being exerted right now, or the risk of error or what have you, then cost is obviously going to be a lower factor. But in nice to haves, where realistically, say you're doing something 2 hours a month on a spreadsheet, what you're willing to pay to replace 2 hours a month on a spreadsheet that's not resulting in errors is incredibly less than something that you're spending, an entire FTE or full-time employee on. So really, really important to take cost as one of the factors and really evaluate that as your last evaluation. How much are you going to spend is really going to depend on the rest of the items. So if I think about, classic examples would be user interface. So if you're a firm and you have a sales team that's a non-CPA, for example, out there in the market selling, then you really need to think about, how does my salesperson use my system? And are in a non-COVID world, hopefully, maybe they're out and about and they're in their car. And if they don't have the ability to put information into an app on their phone, then they're not going to do it, or they're going to save everything till Friday and do kind of a bad job putting data in because it's the last thing they do Friday before they log out. So things like that have to be considered, right? So a user interface or a mobile app application for a sales team could be a critical function, for example. And so it's those types of things that have to be listed, evaluated, and considered.
Yeah, no, thanks for that, Jamie. And I guess to that point where it's a lot more of a process improvement based approach, is there, I guess, regular reviews, or is there a certain process that you and your co-founders take in determining, okay, this quarter, this was an inefficiency that we found, or is it something that is, I guess, ad hoc in nature?
Yeah, so I think, it's really important from a continuous improvement or transformation perspective to constantly be looking at your priorities. So for us at Amplify, we have a client experience as our North Star. So I'm the Chief Experience Officer as one of the co-founders, and my co-founder is our CEO. And that's, one of the ways that we show that experience is our priority. So within your firm, if you're a tax accountant, for example, your priority might be timely and accurate tax returns and tax compliance. If you're an audit firm, chances are you want efficient, cost-effective, and quality work, etc. Right? So what you decide is your North Star should really drive how much effort and time you put into something. So for us, experience is our North Star, and part of client experience is employee experience. So if something comes up where we have our CFOs putting up their hand and saying, this is a pain, or I don't understand this, or they're constantly needing help or asking for help, that goes to the top of the list, versus if our accounts receivable clerk is having some struggles, that is not necessarily aligned with our North Star. So that would get prioritized and evaluated on a monthly or quarterly basis. So I think that going to your North Star, your purpose and your why, and your values, that's what you need to evaluate decisions. And if something is urgent, it's because it's directly aligned with your actual strategy and your ability to achieve and execute that strategy, versus the other things have to be looked at a more diligent level, because if everything's an emergency just because it pops its head up, you won't get to the big things, right? And you'll be doing things that aren't actually impactful or can be quite expensive, right? Like, for example, this is the issue in today's world. If you get an app for everything that you need, before long, you're gonna bleed $7 a month at a time, right? It just gets out of control. So you can't be doing that. You have to step back and reevaluate things compared to your strategy, your vision, your values, your North Star, and make decisions that way.